rock the world.
Yo, everybody, it's your boy Rosco. Welcome on in. How you all doing? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're having a good time. Guys, welcome to today's stream. Today, if you don't know what we're doing, if you have not seen the title of today, today we're going to be making a D&D character. We're gonna be, I'm gonna be going through kind of a crash course. Kind of like a little silly fun time. I don't know. I'm gonna try my best to help you guys out with making a character and overall getting a better knowledge of just how to do things in general. So I'm gonna be trying my best. Again, I am out of practice. I'm a bit out of practice. I haven't prepped for making a character in a very long time. So if you guys are more knowledgeable than I am, please, you can correct me softly. Don't yell at me, I'm gonna cry. But hello everybody, welcome on in. Guys, if you don't know where to look for a character sheet or the rule book, I linked a tweet by Min, our fellow Rosco. They kindly put in links to help you guys out, so you can just download the file and get the rule book. Because maybe the character that you want to make isn't the same character that I'm gonna be making. My goal with this stream again is to help you guys learn how. I'm like jiggling my desk right now. I'm having an ADHD moment. Can you hear that? Dude, oh my god, it sounds so good. My goal here is to help you learn a bit so you can be more comfortable with playing D&D, because I want more people to play D&D because D&D is fun. D&D is very fun and I enjoy it a lot. Maybe I'll do a DM thing later in the future from I still consider myself an amateur dungeon master, but I will maybe do a DM lesson in the future, who knows. Or like a world building thing. We could do a world building stream where I help you guys world build and create, you know, cool, fantastical lands that you can have your players travel in if you get sick of pre-made modules. But yeah, anyways, let's start with character creation. So let me start writing, because this is very important. Okay, making a player character. Okay, so what does it entail? Well, first things first. This character is the, what the heck was that? Is the character that you're gonna be playing. For, oh, I cannot spell. Oh shoot, wait, gonna be playing for a long time. You're gonna be, usually you're gonna be playing this character for a long time. Okay, meaning make a character that you really like. Make a character that you really like, okay? Don't just make a character that needs to fit within the party structure. And by party structure, I mean, usually at tables, there is a sort of agreement that nobody plays the same thing unless talked about beforehand with another player. So, for example, let's say that let's just say that you and me, we're at a table, right? And we have a DM, and we're making our characters. If, for example, you want to play wizard, but I also want to play wizard, we can talk about it. Be like, hey, I want to play wizard too, but I heard that you were playing wizard. I could say, oh, I'll change class if you don't want to be like, have two classes of the same thing. If the other player agrees, then okay, I'll just do different classes. It's completely fine, you know, talk about it. But if they're like, oh, no, you can play wizard too, we'll just have two wizards, then that's also, you know, an option. You know what I mean? So usually you're gonna be playing this character for a long time if it's a campaign. If it's a campaign, campaigns last for a bit if they keep going. But if you're playing a one-shot, then you can go crazy, honestly. You can make like a super stupid, silly character. It doesn't matter. It's just for funsies, right? But yeah, so usually this character is gonna be the character you're gonna be playing for a long time if you're in a campaign. Now, next up, there are sort of two play styles. Usually two play styles when making a character for combat. Usually. And I'll get to it in a little bit. There is the martial classes, and then there's the spellcasters. Now, when I say martial, I mean like swords, spears, bows, right? And all like weapons and stuff like that. And then for spellcasters, obviously it's the tried and true wizardry mage. I love casting spells up in this beat. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's what that is about. However, there are exceptions. There are a lot of exceptions. Okay? For example, there is a subclass for the warlock, and we'll talk about classes later. Just so I'm just trying to get you familiar with how things work usually. So there are subclasses. For the warlock, there is a subclass called the Hexblade Warlock, and usually the backstory, the flavor text for this kind of warlock is that their weapon is cursed or something of that effect, and so they use not only spells, but they also use melee attacks. They're a sort of spell sword. So there are a lot of exceptions. There's a fighter subclass called the Arcane Archer that gives you like magic arrows and stuff like that. So there are exceptions, but usually it's martial and spellcasters, and then there are a few that mix the two together, which is really cool. I like that. And then there's even more things. There's a lot of classes now in 5th edition, which is what we're going to be using today because it's the easiest one for me to understand. But yeah. Next up, let me see. This is like a good thing to do. Please talk to your DM about homebrewed things. Now, what are homebrewed things? Well, there's official content that's given out by the people who make D&D Wizards of the Coast, right? There's official content, and that's tested, that's beta tested, all that stuff. It's balanced. Homebrewed means that the content that you're going to be using is content that was made unofficially. So for example, there is a race that you want to use, right? And it has like the perfect layout for the character you have in mind. However, it's not official content. If you want to use that homebrewed content or homemade content, talk to your DM and make sure that they're okay with having that. Usually race is not a big problem, but sometimes classes can be really overtuned, homebrewed stuff, to the point where they just break games. So talk to your DM and see if they will allow it / tweak it a bit so it fits, so it doesn't break the game. Things like that. Another example of homebrewed content is actually the D&D campaign quotations that I have for Avallum, because that entire world is just made up from me. I've made up the entire world. So that's homebrewed content. Like original campaigns are also considered homebrewed content. So yeah. Next up, I think this might be the last point that I make. Have fun. Again, guys, have fun making your character. I implore you, really get into it, man. I don't know if you were kids and you like made like random OCs, you know what I mean? Like you were like laying in bed thinking of like, oh, original characters. Oh, dude, here's my OC from the Sonic franchise. You know, like that kind of stuff. Have fun. Have fun with it, dude. Really brain rot. I implore you to brain rot about it. I encourage you to brain rot about your character and become seriously obsessed. Seriously obsessed with making your character, because it's really fun. It is really fun. I was so serious, my first two characters that made my most recent one named Vienna Saw the Sage. I would kill you if you're my table. I'm personally, for me, I'm very serious when I make characters. I don't like making joke characters because I like to roleplay and stuff, and I like making serious things. I would have killed you for my table. Yeah, we got freaking Daenric, the Eldritch Knight, and we got freaking Vienna Saw the Sage. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, but again, if you want to make a silly one, I'm not there to stop you. You know, you can do whatever you want, right? It's up to you. Everyone has their own favorite way to play. I have a taco in my hand. Give me a sec. No. Hold on. Okay. Now, we have all out the way. Let's make our character. Now, here we begin. Here's the character sheet. Now, it's a lot of stuff. I know. It's a lot of things, and it looks very, very, very scary. We're gonna take this very slowly, okay? I got the hiccups, frick. Uh-oh. Oh no, chat. Oh my god. Chat. Oh no. No, not right now. I need to talk. No. No. I shouldn't eat the taco. Lock in. I'm not a fish. 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 Okay, that works for some reason. All right. Now, let's start very, very slowly. We're gonna start with the crux of every character. Okay. This is what I like to do. This is what I like to do. Okay. So, I use dice. I use dice. Some people use like a point distribution system. That's fine, but I like dice because it gives more of like a random chance, and it gives more, you know, higher numbers and lower numbers. And you can also use those lower numbers to give yourself weaknesses to make a more fleshed out character. That's how I learned to play. So what you're gonna do with dice, chat. Now, if you don't have real dice in your hand, that's perfectly okay. You can use online dice. Just search up like D6 or like a dice roller and get a D6. Oh, and for the dice. When I refer to, frick, I dropped my dice. When I refer to dice, I'm gonna refer to them by how many sides they have. So when I say D6, what do you guys think I'm talking about? What do you think a D6 stands for? Rolling dice gives serotonin. It actually really does. You guys do not know. D6 that we're all gonna need for today, yes. For today, I would say so. Unless you're gonna do like the rolls for like different things for race and stuff, but I usually just use D6. A 6-sided dice, exactly. 6 faces. So whenever they say D and a number, it refers to the amount of faces that dice has. Now a D6 is your standard dice that you use for everything. Overall, in general, in life, you see a D6 in like what is it? In like Monopoly, in like your casual board games. It's literally a normal die. Yeah, exactly. It's literally a normal die. You're gonna hear D20. A D20 is used very often. In D&D, it's has a lot of numbers and you use it for a lot of things. You're gonna use a D20 for a lot of things when you play the game. But for right now, all we're worried about is having a D6. Okay? Everyone got that? Everyone understand? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're going to roll 4d6. But why 4, Rosco? We'll get to that. So let's roll our first set of dice. Okay, so with my dice, I rolled a 6, which is really good. I rolled a 4, I rolled a 2, and I rolled another 2. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of the lowest number. Now, I have 2 2s, so all I'd have to do is get rid of one of the 2s. And now I'm stuck with 6, 4, and 2. If we combine the math, 6 plus 4 equals 10, 10 plus 2 equals 12. So, that's a 12. I have one 12, okay? Some DMs force you to go in order. What I do is I just do this 5 more times, and I attribute the numbers to the scores that I want, just to make my character more customizable. So I don't have to worry about like, oh, I got a strength of this, now I have to play a freaking warrior, I can't play wizard. I don't like doing that to people. So we're gonna do this 5 more times, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay, I got a 5, I got 3 3s. So if I get rid of one of the 3s and I combine the 3s, it makes a 6. I have an 11. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, this one's really good. I got a really good roll on this. So I got 3 6s and a 3. So I get rid of the 3. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 6 plus 12 equals 18. I got an 18 score. That's a really good score. 18 is the max you can get when you're doing this. So that's really good on my part. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, I got a 4, another 4, a 2, and a 2. So I get rid of 1 2. 4 plus 4 equals 8, and an 8 plus 2 equals 10. Not bad, but not good either. A 10 is like middle of the road, very neutral. Okay, I'm gonna roll another one. Okay, I got a 5, I got 2 4s, and I got a 3. I'm gonna get rid of the 3. 4 plus 4 equals 8. 8 plus 4 equals 13. Right? Yes. No. Yes. 13. Okay, 13. So far, there's no weaknesses yet. There's no weaknesses. Maybe I'll get a weakness right now. Okay, no, I didn't. I got a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 1. Get rid of the 1. 6 plus 5 equals 11. 11 plus 4 equals 15. Okay, so far I have a character with not really a lot of weaknesses, but it's pretty balanced so far. I won't have all my stats being crazy. Okay, so now we're gonna make the character. We're gonna flesh it out. So we're gonna start putting these numbers into each score. Now, depending on what you want to do for your character, you're gonna put it in different areas. I'm gonna make a spellcaster because it can both cover martial and spellcaster characters. The only added thing with spellcasters is that they have spells, and I do want to talk about that for those who care or are gonna make like a wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock. But for those martial characters, you won't have to worry about that. I will be talking about that though. So if you're a martial character and you're not gonna use magic at all, usually what you're gonna put your highest score into is either strength or dexterity. So strength and dexterity are, for one, not only used for weapon attacks, but they are part of the weapon attacks themselves. They can also be used in different scenarios. But right now we're concerned with how they affect your combat. So strength is used for weapons that, of course, use strength, like great swords, clubs, battle axes, war hammers, things like that. They can be also used for unarmed attacks if you're not a monk, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Those are what they're used for. They're also used for a skill called athletics, which is, it's like a more specific roll you have to make. There's also saving throws, which we'll get into it. And your saving throws that you're proficient in also determines depends on your class. And each score has its own saving throw and has its own skills that are attributed to that stat. So we're gonna start putting these scores into it. I'm gonna be making a sorcerer. I'm gonna be making a level 1 sorcerer. This is based off a character that I have created in my head over the past few years. I don't know if I talked about him yet. His name is Silenel. But we'll get into more of the lore, because we're gonna be talking about how to make character backstory and lore as well. So I'm gonna be making a sorcerer. Now, a sorcerer is a spellcaster, if you didn't know that. And they use charisma as their spellcasting modifier, meaning whatever spell they use, they will add their charisma score into the spell to make it more easier to hit or make it more powerful and harder to escape from. Okay, and we'll get into the class right now, but I'm only worried about the scores. So for right now, let me make a new layer. Okay, we're gonna start putting in scores. So right now, I want my highest score to be charisma, because that's very important. That is very important. So oh freak, this is really big. This is huge, dude. Let me make it smaller. Let me change the font to something else. I'll make it Futura. Okay, so my highest score is 18. So I'll put the 18 in my charisma, because that's my highest score, and it's very important that I have a high charisma so my spells hit. Right? I'll put that right there. 18. Okay? Let me just make sure it's, there you go. 18. Okay, now we cross up 18 off our score list. You can't use that anymore because we already have it in charisma. Okay, now this one is a bit of a toss up. Usually you want to make your next score, your next second highest score, either your constitution or a physical attribute, usually dexterity. It really depends. If you want more health, constitution affects that. But if you want to be more mobile, and have a easier time getting in front in initiative, which is like a battle thing, then you put dexterity. I like to get more health. Can you repeat that again? So yeah, your second highest score is usually either constitution or dex. I like constitution. It just depends on what you feel like. If you're like a mix of martial and spell casting, your second highest score would be whatever you use for your weapons, usually. So for me, I'm not gonna use martial weapons. So I'm gonna be using my constitution, or putting my next highest in constitution, which is a 15. So I'm gonna put a 15 into constitution, which is my health essentially. Okay. I should think of the 14 months. 14 months, hell yeah. My friend is an absolute nerd of D&D. He loves it, and I feel like he'll scream if I show him this stream. Well, you should show him the stream. Spread the Rosco agenda. Spread it right now. Spread it. They must know about Rosco Graves. Oh, no S? Ayo? Oh shoot, I done messed up, gang. Hold on. This goes here. And this goes here. Okay. My next score, so across the 15, my next score will, this depends. So my lowest score, the one I don't care about, I'm gonna put into strength, because I'm not gonna use strength for anything. Legitimately nothing. I have no feasible excuse to use strength. So my lowest score will be strength, right? Now, cross that off. Now I have a 12, 11, and a 13. Now, intelligence, wisdom, and dexterity. This depends on what you think. This could be from a roleplay aspect or simply like, I'm not going to be using this at all, so I'm going to put my lowest score in here. Now, 11 doesn't give me any benefits. It doesn't give me a benefit to anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm most likely going to put my 11 into wisdom. And I'm purely thinking about this through a roleplay standpoint. Because my character isn't the most perceptive, but they're not gullible either. Right? It's not a bad score, it's a very neutral score. If I have anything below a 10, then I start getting penalties for such a low score when doing certain actions. But I'll get into that right now when I finish my scores. So that's an 11. Now 12 and 13 are interchangeable. I'm gonna put a 12 into intelligence. Again, purely based off my background that I have in mind. Right? And then I'll put the 13 into dexterity. Oh, balls. Now, I got this. Okay, so you see how I put it under score. Now there's a larger circle that says modifier. What does that mean? Well, modifiers is the plus, is the bonus or the negative you get when you roll for whatever that thing is. For example, if the DM asks me to roll let's say an insight check, an insight falls under wisdom. So I would add whatever my modifier is, plus if I have a proficiency in perception, I would add that together, and we'll get to the numbers right now. Angel, thank you for the 14 months. 14 months! Speaking of spreading the Rosco gender, I'm trying my BF to watch some of your streams with me. Hope you have fun with this stream. Thank you so much! And wait, you're not single anymore! You left me in the dust, bro! You know what's bad when your Oshi is maidenless? This sucks, bro. I'm gonna eat a taco. I'm gonna start depression eating, bro. Bro, what the fuck? Man. This sucks. Anyway. Continue on. Now, the modifier scales. So when I said that I really have no negatives, means that my modifiers won't give me a penalty. So for example, a 10 doesn't give me a penalty, but it doesn't give me a bonus. So I get a plus. Which one's plus again on my keyboard? A +0. I get a 0. I get nothing. I don't get a single bonus. Right? And now this bonus increases every even number. Or decreases every even number. You know what I mean? So if it increases every even number, or every 2, let's just say every 2, what do you think my intelligence bonus is gonna be, chat? Alright, thank you for the super. Rosco is someone with living flesh. Let's go. Dude, you've tricked the living. We're so indistinguishable from living beings. We tricked them into dating us. That's crazy. How'd you get these points? Did we roll? Yeah, we rolled. We rolled like a long time ago, bro. We rolled such a long time ago. A +1, exactly. If I have an intelligence of 12, I get a +1. Now let's go up a bit. If I have a charisma of 18, what is my modifier? How much of a bonus do I get? A plus what? I mean the +1s. Oh no, these are because of our scores that we already have. So if you have a 10, you have 0. If you have an 18, what do you have? 12 is a +1, 14 is a +2, 16 is a +3, 18 is a +4. Exactly, you get a +4. And this is the highest you can get when you roll a character. You can't get 20. But you can get to 20 later on in a game. Where's my... Shoot, which one? Chat, I don't remember. Oh, there it is. Okay, +4. So I got a +4 to my charisma. Right? So if it's an odd number, you just have to see what the number before was, and you just copy that. So like, for example, wisdom doesn't give me a bonus because it hasn't reached 12 yet. So that is just a +0. So you don't get a bonus. But however, if we were to add a score to our wisdom and it becomes a 12, then we get a +1. Right? So we're gonna start adding our modifiers to everything. So this is a +1 because it's at 12. Oh shoot, and I'm goofed. Okay, and then we're gonna add a +1 to this as well because this is at 13. It has not reached 14, so it can't be a +2. And then 15 is a +2. It has not reached 16, so it can't be a +3. It is a +2. Oh, I did it again. There you go. So those are our scores. You base those on your lower score. Yeah. So if it's an odd number, you just base it on what the number is previously. So if it's a 15, you haven't reached 16 yet, so that would mean it's still a +2 modifier. Right? It's every 2 numbers or every even number. Going up or down, it'll decrease. So for example, chat, if I went down to 8, what do you think my modifier would be? If I went from 10 to 8 or 10 to 9, what would you think my modifier would be? Because I did talk about there's penalties. A -1, exactly. So the lower you go, it decreases the number. So if you have an 8 strength, you have a -1 in any strength roll. If you have a 6 strength, you have a -2, and it keeps going like that. 9 is not 0. 9 is not 0. 11 is 0. It's going up, not going down. It's a lot of math, I know. Once you get used to it, you'll figure it out. It takes a bit though. Don't worry, people are patient. If you're a new player, they understand, right? And when you're level 1, there's also something called a proficiency bonus. This will increase as you level up, and it'll tell you in your in the table you have for your classes and everything. I believe at level 1, everyone has a +2 proficiency bonus. And this is used for most things. This is used for things that you have proficiency in, which we'll find out with your class. So is 10 an automatic +0? Yes, 10 is an automatic +0. If you have a 10, if you have a score of 10 in anything, you don't get a bonus based off that score, right? If you have a 10 strength but you have proficiency in athletics, the only bonus you get is from the proficiency that you have, right? Not the score itself. So if you're proficient in something at level 1, you do +2, and it'll increase later as you level up. So like when you select your class, you get to choose stuff. Class and background is another thing to get to. Oh my god, there's so much to do. If you have proficiency in a skill, then you add this number. So if you have proficiency in athletics, you don't get a modifier from your strength, but you do get it from your proficiencies. Right? Now, if I have a proficiency in deception, I also have a +4 score. So that'd be a +6 in total with my charisma score and my proficiency bonus at level 1. But since I have a 0, if I'm proficient in athletics again, if I still have a 0 modifier, I would only get a +2. Nothing, this wouldn't affect this, only this. Basically. Yeah. Okay, next dot up. I think it's time to choose your race. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we'll do initiative, speed, size right now. We just need to do this. Okay, let's do our race. So when selecting a race, again, I don't min-max. I do not care for min-maxing for the most part. I like balance. But when I'm making a character, everybody, I'm making a character that I like to play. Okay? If you're a min-maxer, go for it. Make the most powerful OP character ever. Again, it's for your enjoyment. But again, please talk to the DM to understand that what they're trying to go for. If you're a min-maxer going into a roleplay heavy game, maybe it's not going to be for you, right? But so please talk to your table and talk to your DM about this. But personally, for me, I love a good story. I love telling a good story. So for Silent, what I had in mind was making him a sort of undead, but not in the traditional like zombie or ghoul or spirit or ghost. In recent additions to D&D, they've really kind of expanded with races, and it's less of a concrete thing. So when researching for how to make this character, I decided to go for something more obscure. Now, they are human. They were born human. But they're considered something else. I need to remember the name. I gotta find it. I can't remember. That's you. I don't want Unearthed Arcana. That's still in testing. Let me see. I believe they're called Risen? I'm not entirely sure. I gotta find it. Reborn. They are called Reborn. Thank you. Yeah. So the idea that I have with Silent is that he's a reborn after he was murdered. And so something brought him back after death. And so his memory is a little bit hazy, but he gets the gist of what happens. So he's a reborn. But again, I can be whatever race I want. It's just that all the features that I have are going to be for the reborn. Now, this is from a separate thing. It's not going to be in the regular core rulebook. But I'm going to be using this. Again, so if you're going to be using your races from the core rulebook, you have to read what bonuses they give you. There's already a set amount of races in D&D, or is it based on DM's choice? It's based on DM's choice. Most DMs are fine with whatever race you want, but some DMs have like a certain story structure they want, and so they'll be like, okay, only humans, elves, or dwarves. It depends on what your DM is going to be doing, but most people are like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Right? So just talk to your DM. Again, talk to your DM because they're in charge. You don't want to like clash with each other, right? So if you've already chosen your race, I don't know if you guys want to keep looking. We're gonna start at their traits. The lore stuff is a different thing. We can talk about that later. But we're gonna be looking at their traits. All right. So their traits are this: ability score increase. For a reborn, they get to increase one ability score by 2, and increase a different one by 1. Or they can choose 3 ability scores to increase by 1, which is really crazy. That is actually wild. So what I could literally do with my character sheet is I could raise my charisma to a 20. I could raise my charisma to a 20 if I wanted to, right? Or I could raise, do you see how there's 3 different odd numbers right here? Some people will run old school tieflings that it's a curse instead of a normal race type stuff. Yeah, it just depends on the lore that you want to make for your character. Maxed at level 1's exactly, a max stat at level 1's crazy. But look, I could also increase these things. So I get a +1 to wisdom, a +2 to dexterity, and a +3 to constitution. There will be options in the future to increase ability scores. So in order to raise my ability to deal with things, I might choose the +1 to 3 scores. So I have a +1 to wisdom, a +1 to dexterity, or +2 to dexterity, and a +2 to constitution, which is really good. That is a really crazy stat spread. So that was actually OP. So I might do that. So I'm gonna be replacing this number and increase it by 1. And that makes my constitution a +3. I'm gonna raise my dexterity to a 14. And that'll make my dexterity a +2, and that'll affect my initiative actually. And then I will take my wisdom, and I'll increase it by 2, or by 1, apologies. And that means I get a +1. Oh shoot! I get a +1 to my wisdom rolls, which is pretty cool. So that's that. And now you guys can do whatever abilities you want to do for your character. If your character gives you a +2 and 1, you do that, or maybe it gives you a specific stat. So for example, I think Dragonborn get a +1 or +2 to charisma, I believe, or Tieflings, one of the two. So if your race tells you, your traits tell you to increase your score, to increase a specific score by a specific amount, then you do that. If it tells you you can increase any score by a specific amount, then you do that. Yeah, so depending on race, it'll increase the stats. It'll let you increase any stat you want, or a specific stat. I know Tieflings is charisma, usually. But again, it's up to the race. Languages. So as a Reborn, the languages that I can speak, read, and write are Common, and any other language that me and my DM will agree is appropriate for the character. Every PC knows Common. Every player character will know Common. Unless you make it a point to not know Common, you will know Common. Common is the language that is basically the language that is spoken at the table, which is, for example, me, English, right? I speak English. If I was to run a Spanish table, the Common would be Spanish. You know what I mean? So you know Common, right? Now for Silent Nell, I would think he would know not an exotic language. No, actually, I think he would know an exotic language. And let me tell you why. Because Silent Nell is actually a noble, and so he would have very, high up, like, classes and things like that. He's not the smartest, but he knows another language, right? So I feel like, let me see what languages are in D&D. Let me Google it real quick. D&D languages, 5e. Let me look for an exotic language. Okay. I would think he would learn Undercommon. So we'll add Undercommon into somewhere, dude. I have no idea where. Holy crap. Okay, we'll add in species traits. We'll add it right here. So we'll have it that he knows Common and Undercommon. Yeah, we'll decrease this by, we'll make it smaller so we can fit more in there. Okay. There you go. So he knows Common and Undercommon. Okay, now the next thing you want to look at, we're gonna go down the list essentially, is their creature type. So I think for everything here, it's usually humanoid. If you have a race that's like a Drider, for example, I don't think you'll be considered a humanoid. But for the most part, elves, dwarves, tabaxi, tieflings, bugbears are humanoid in nature. So that is your creature type. You are humanoid, so don't worry about that. For your size, it depends on what you are. If you're a goblin, I think you're considered small, or if you're a gnome, I believe you're considered small. I believe. Let me triple check on that. Races. Let me click on gnome. Age size. Yeah, you're considered small. So any small races are usually of small size. So we'll put that right here. I'm of human lineage, so I'd be considered medium. I'm of medium size. There is not a lot of races that are considered large that you can play. The only one that I can think of that maybe might fit that is a Goliath, but let me double check on that. I still think they're medium. They're medium. I don't think there's a good. I don't think there's anyone who can be a large player character unless I'm super wrong on that. I want to check Minotaur real quick. Yeah, a lot of them, the largest ones I'm thinking of are medium still. So I think for everybody, I think you're gonna be a medium or a small character. Let me look at another one. What's another one that I can think of that might be a huge? What's that elephant one? It's not turtle. That's a turtle one. Minotaur already checked. Is it Locatheth? Or Locathah? Yeah, it's all medium. So I feel like unless stated otherwise, you're either medium or small. So just check. Loxodon, yeah. I think you're still gonna be medium for the most part. So small or medium, make sure what it is. And continue. Next up is your speed. Most creatures have a 30-foot speed, and what your speed is and usually in combat, it's how far you can go. So for a reborn like me, I have 30 feet of speed. When it talks about feet, when you go into a battle map, I don't know if you remember, chat, in my D&D stream a year ago, there was like a square grid all across the map. Does a half elf and an orc count as characters? Yes. You can make a half elf, you can make an orc, you can actually make a mix of both. I think there's a way to do that. Yeah, so every square represents 5 feet. So 30 feet of movement means I could move 6 squares in a turn. Some other races have a higher speed and some other have a lower speed. I think it's a difference of 5 of each. I know Tabaxi and Wood Elves have that bonus. Let me check Tabaxi real quick. Speed, let me see. Okay, no. Okay, so Tabaxi is actually climbing speed is equals to your walking speed. Which one has a bonus? I think it might be Wood Elves. Yeah, it'd be Wood Elves because they have 35 feet of speed. So just pay attention. Oh, also to add on, by the way, for races, some races have sub-races. So for example, elves are a good example of this. Elves, I think, have about 3 sub-races or 4 sub-races if we're counting the Eladrin. I don't think we are counting the Eladrin though. Let's just not count the Eladrin because there's a different beast. So elves have 3 sub-races. There's the high elves, there's the dark elves, which are the drow, and then we have the wood elves, which I just mentioned. So each race, each sub-race has their own thing that you have to add on. So just keep in mind, if you're playing a race and they have sub-races, you have to also choose a sub-race and add on their details as well. For example, their dwarves have like hill dwarves or gold dwarves, I think is what it is. And then there's like the Durigar, which are like the dark dwarves, like the dark elves of dwarves. Gnomes have sub-races. There's a lot of details. So just make sure you select that. For example, we're gonna go through elves real quick. If I chose an elf, I would add everything that the elf has. But if I chose a high elf, I would also add what the high elf has. So if I'm an elf, my dexterity score increases by 2. But if I also choose high elf, my intelligence score would also increase by 1. So I do both of them. I also get a free cantrip of my choice. I have elf weapon training, which means I have proficiency in longsword, short sword, short bow, and longbow. And I can know an extra language, which is really, really, really cool. And I like that. and it's dope. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You would also do the things out in your sub race. Continuing on with Silenel though. Aside from that, there's also a trait called Ancestral Legacy. If you replace a race with this lineage, you can keep the following elements of that race, any skill proficiencies you gain from it, and any climbing, flying, or swimming speed gained from it. If you don't keep any of the elements or you choose this lineage at character creation, you gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. Since I have not played Silenel when he was alive, I would not do the first thing. So what I would do instead is I would gain proficiency in 2 skills of my choice. Now I'm gonna save that for later. I'm gonna remind myself that I have 2 proficiency, 2 skills of my choosing, because I'm gonna choose them after I choose my class and my background, just so I don't overlap. So I'm gonna save that. Is it the same with half elf? Yes. So if you're a half elf, you usually have a lineage that comes along with it. I think you get less benefits for being a half elf from your elven heritage. Let me double check on that. I'll take my word for it real quick. Yeah. So in the player's handbook, if you have your half elf lineage, you can choose which one you want to choose from. From what I'm seeing here, it just depends. So if you want like skill versatility, you can gain 2 proficiency. We can gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. There's also elf weapon training, which you get the proficiency of the longsword, short sword, short bow, and longbow. You can either get a cantrip if you're a high elf. If you're a wood elf, you can get fleet of foot, which increases your speed to 35. There's also a wood elf heritage trait called Mask of the Wild that you can attempt to hide even when you're only lightly obscured by nature and stuff. If you're a half drow, you get the Dancing Lights cantrip. You also get more cantrips as you or more spells as you level up due to that. And there's other things you can choose and stuff. So it's up to you. What about Orc? Orc, I don't know if Orc has sub races. Let me check for you real quick. Okay, Orcs have different traits. That they have like different stat cards. So from different books, there's like different ways to make an orc, which is kind of weird. I don't know why there's multiple ways to make an orc. The one I would use personally is probably Volos. You can search it up. So orcs don't have a subclass or a subrace. They're just orcs. Is it okay to play a satyr dampier character in D&D? You have to talk to your DM. Usually dampiers are like lineages, or like how the Reborn work, where they're derived from like a separate character. They're not really a race. They're more like a thing that happens. So it should be fine, but please ask your DM before you make one. But yeah, okay, continuing on. So I get proficiency in 2 skills. And then my next trait is called Deathless Nature. Now what this means for my character is that I have advantage on saving throws, which is usually gonna be Constitution, against disease or being poisoned. So for example, if I get stabbed by like someone with a poison knife, I get advantage. So that means I roll 2 d20s and I would take the highest number. So if I were to roll right now for a Constitution saving throw against a poison dagger, just to see if I was poisoned. So I have a 15 and an 18. I would take the 18 and would add my modifier plus 3 and then plus whatever my saving throw is, which it would be like 20 something, right? So that's what it means. I also, in addition to having advantage against that, I have resistance to poison damage. So whatever is considered poison damage, and there's multiple types of damage in D&D, I have resistance to it, meaning I take half the damage. So if they rolled 6 poison damage, I'd get only 3 poison damage because I have resistance to it. If you catch my drift. Right? Is everyone good? Everyone chilling? Anyone have questions they need answered? Anyone confused on something? I'm here to answer your questions. If you need help, let me know, please. Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna continue with my character. Now, next up, I still have a lot of stuff for Deathless Nature. I also have advantage on death saving throws. So when somebody knocks me down, I have hit points, right? And we'll do that right now. Let's say I go down to 0 hit points. Player characters do not die immediately. They get knocked unconscious. And what that means when you get knocked unconscious, every time it's your turn, you have to roll a d20. And I believe if you roll a 1 through 10, it's a failure. If you get an 11 through 20, that's a success. If you roll 3 failures, your character dies. And they can only be brought back with revival spells. Right? If you roll 3 successes, your character is stabilized and they're only merely unconscious. That means if you just heal a character, they'll come back from unconsciousness. Now, if your character is downed, if your character is knocked out and an enemy decides to hit them while they're knocked out, that'll be an immediate 2 failures. So if your character already rolled a failure and they get hit by an enemy, that means they're dead, right? So just something to keep that in mind. But with my character, I have an advantage with that. So that means I roll 2 d20s and I take the highest number. So that means I have a better chance of staying alive because of my Deathless Nature. In addition, with Deathless Nature, I don't need to eat, I don't need to drink, and I don't need to breathe. So if I were to hold my breath, I'm completely fine. Like, I can be underwater indefinitely. I do not need to breathe at all. So I'm completely fine with that. That's like the biggest thing, right? And also as well, I don't need to sleep, and magic cannot put me to sleep. And it also says that you can finish a long rest in 4 hours if you spend those hours in an active motionless state during which you retain consciousness. So a long rest is usually considered, I think, 8 hours. So when you exhaust all your resources, when you exhaust all your your abilities or your spells, a lot of them require you to take a long rest to take it back. Best season zombie hasta in D&D. Yeah, I love Reborn. They're so fun to play. They're so OP. I don't know why they allowed this. They require you to take a long rest. For example, my spell slots usually in an exception to Warlock. Spells can only be retained through a long rest, so you need to take a long rest. And for a lot of characters, a lot of races, it's 8 hours. Right? So you have to take an 8-hour break to recover that. For Reborn, it only is 4 hours, and you remain conscious the entire time. So it's hard to get sneak up on, right? Because maybe your DM wants to plan an ambush while you guys are sleeping, right? You can just remain still, not moving for 4 hours, and still have like your consciousness. You don't need to sleep at all, which is crazy. So if you're undead, doesn't mean you're immune to magic. I'm not immune. I'm only immune to that makes me want to. I can completely resist magic that puts my character to sleep, is what it is. But that's enough from Deathless Nature. Now here is another trait that the Reborn has called Knowledge from a Past Life. What it does is that you can temporarily remember glimpses of the past, or perhaps faded memories from ages ago or a previous life. When you make an ability check that uses a skill, you can roll a d6 immediately after seeing the number in the d20 and add the number of the d6 to the check. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Let's break this down because that's a lot of words. So let's say I need to roll a history check, which is an intelligence-based score. Let's say I don't have proficiency in history, and let's just say it's a +1. Okay, I'm gonna roll d20. Okay, a 2. I get a +1, right? Let's say the DC, the difficulty of the roll that I have to pass is like a 5. Now, I can see this number and be like, oh no, this is bad, right? Oh frick, oh no, right? I can use this ability. I can roll a d6 and add whatever it is to my score. It's a 5. So a 3 + 5 is an 8. I passed it. So that means I get to figure out whatever information was gonna be hidden for me if I didn't use my feature. That's what it means, essentially. And when it says you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, that means I can do this 2 times every long rest, and it'll increase. So then I can do it 3 times or 4 times. That's how it works. It's like a cool little extra thing. I should probably write this down. So, no food, drink, or breathing. That's one of them, right? And then 4-hour long rests. I also, knowledge. I'll just name it knowledge. Best life. Write down your traits in a way that you remember how to, like, what they do and all that stuff. Some people have a lot of traits like I do. Like Reborn have a lot of traits you have to keep track of. So keep that in mind when you're making a character. Just write them down in a way that you can remember, like, what your character is able to do. Okay? Okay. Next is it. That's it. That's all I have to do. That's all I have to worry about. So, that's my race. Now we're gonna go into my class. Let me go to the class features, and I'm gonna go to sorcerer because I'm gonna make Selenel a sorcerer. Let me spell out my name real quick because I forgot to do that. What did I name him? Corv. Okay, so let me put all the details here. Oh shoot. Okay, reborn human. Okay, zero class now. So I'm gonna choose a sorcerer. You guys choose whatever you would like to be. We're gonna do the class first, and then we're gonna do the subclass because sorcerers get their subclass at level 1. For other classes, it's usually level 3. Others have it at level 2. But for sorcerers, they get it immediately at level 1. So I'll just cover the class right now, and I'll do my own subclass right now as well. But it's gonna be very important. Is class. So as a sorcerer, you get hit points. Your hit points are a d6 every character level. However, at level 1, it's a 6 plus your constitution modifier. So my constitution modifier is a +3. That is what it is. So a 6 plus 3 equals 9. So right now I have 9 hit points. Let me write that down. I have 9 hit points. Okay, I'll just put that right there. 9 hit points. Your max is like your max hit points, so you know what number to go back to, because after like a while you'll level up, you won't remember your hit point max. And temporary hit points can be granted to you through magic or some other means. Is there any restriction when choosing a class? Nope. You can choose whatever class you want. Just talk to your table, talk to your DM, see what works. Again, like I mentioned before, there is like the unspoken rule of like, don't choose the same class unless like you guys talked about it, because sometimes people want to feel special, right? People want to feel special. People want to be like their own thing. They don't want like someone else doing the same thing, right? They want to be the character, right? So do talk to your table, see what they're comfortable with and what they're okay with. If they're okay with having 2 of the same class, then by all means go for it. If you want to try to like base your character around like the balance of the party, like they don't have a healer, you can be a cleric or a druid or something like that. Just again, talk to your DM, talk to your table. Communication is really key. So I have 9 hit points. A max is 9, right? Moving on from that, different classes have different hit points. So for a sorcerer, it could be it's a d6. Every time they level up, they roll a d6 and add the number plus your constitution modifier, right? However, other classes, for example, let's say a barbarian. Let me find it real quick. Where are they? Holy moly. Barbarian, cleric, bard, barbarian. Okay, barbarians get a d12. So every time they level up, they roll that d12 and add their constitution modifier, and they add that. So, you know, because barbarians are usually like a tanky class. They usually, you know, have more health, right? What are different subclasses compared to classes? Also, is it possible to be a reborn half-elf? Yes, you can be a reborn half-elf. Just pay attention to what it says. If you're making a reborn at character creation, then your half-elven features and traits won't really matter. But you can be a reborn half-elf if it's just for flavor text. What different subclasses compared to classes? Subclasses depend on your class. You can't be, example, you can't be a barbarian and also be a shadow sorcerer without multi-classing, right? And we'll get into multi-classing later, but that's a whole different story. We won't do that today because I want to explode with you guys, but your class will determine your subclasses. And some classes have more subclasses than other classes, but I'll show you right now. Moving on though. So remember, every time you level up, chat, you will roll whatever your hit dice is. For sorcerers, it's a d6, and also add your constitution. Do not forget to add your constitution modifier, okay? Do not forget this because you get more health. This is very important. Do not forget this, okay? Each level you get a hit dice. So level 1 only have 1 hit dice. What does hit dice mean, Rosco? Well, every time you take a short rest, you can roll a hit dice to recover health. So let's say you're level 12. You have 12 hit dice. You take a short rest, you can roll any amount of hit dice that you have to refresh health. So let's say you have 12. And let's say at your first short rest, you roll 6 hit dice. You recover that much dice from what you rolled. Now in your next short rest, you'll only have 6 hit dice left. You won't have the 12, you only have 6. You can't just redo it again and again and again. You'll have 6. So it's like a resource as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. But at level 1, you only have 1 hit dice to spend. Okay. Now moving on. It says hit points at higher levels as well. So you can either roll or you can do like a set number. For sorcerers it's 4, for barbarians it's 7, so on and so forth. So you can either roll or do a set like middle ground number plus your constitution. But I like to roll just to give myself that added benefit. In my tables, if they roll a 1, I let them roll a new. I let them roll again because getting like, you know. Getting 1 health sucks, right? It's awful. So if they roll a 1, I let them re-roll, but it depends on your DM. Okay, next, this is where the proficiencies come in. Proficiencies. Now, for fighters, for rangers, for rogues, you get an armor proficiency. Sorcerers and wizards usually don't get one. They don't get one. So I would not get armor proficiency at all, meaning I cannot wear armor. I have to be in regular clothes. So I get no proficiencies in armor. But if you have proficiencies in armor, that means you can wear it. But however, in weapons, I have proficiencies in multiple things. Let me make this smaller. Oh my god, that is not smaller, that is bigger. I have them with daggers. I have them with darts. I have them with slings. Quarterstaves. And light crossbows. That means I can add my proficiency bonus to these weapons because I'm proficient in them. Tools, certain classes will have proficiencies in other tools. Like for rogue, for example, they have proficiencies in thieves tools, which is is used to like lockpick or disarm traps usually. That's what it's used for. But for sorcerers, they don't have that. Whatever it says for you, add that to your tool proficiency little thing on the bottom or wherever it is on your character sheet. Saving throws. Having a proficiency in a saving throw means that you add your proficiency bonus to the roll. So it says I have a proficiency bonus in, oh shoot, what did I just do? Why can't I? There you go. It says I have proficiency bonus in charisma and in constitution. Oh shoot. There you go. And in constitution. So that means whenever I roll for a saving throw, for example, let's say I'm having a concentration spell, and we'll get into that when we do the spells. If I have a constitution saving throw I have to make, I roll my dice, add my constitution modifier as well as a saving throw proficiency, which is usually just this. So for in this case, it's gonna be a +2, and it'll increase again, chat, as you level up. So when your proficiency bonus increases, so does your saving throw bonus. So right now it's just +2. There you go. Naruhodo. Right? Okay. Next are skills. Now it tells me that I can choose 2 from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose 2 right now. So I'm gonna choose to have proficiencies in thinking of my character in Arcana. Oh frick, it's not the right color. I want to get perfect because I freaking, there you go. Arcana, and I'm gonna get proficiency in Insight. Actually, no, I'm lying. I'm a liar. I'm a dirty liar. In Intimidation. The reason I'm selecting this is purely from a roleplay standpoint, because I'm thinking that like since I'm such of a weird nature and like the source of my power is so like weird and unknown and scary, that having proficiency in Arcana, being able to feel like the weave and like all like that mystical stuff would make sense, because like it's like natural to me. And also Intimidation because of the weird nature of my power, which we'll get into right now in the subclass. So I selected those both because it fits my character. You can choose whatever you want. That's just how I roll, right? So that means I would have what is it, chat? What does having proficiency mean when I proficiency in the skill? What does that mean? That means I get a +2. Oh my god! And it'll increase as I level up. What if you're half dragon race? You have to speak to your DM. I don't think half dragon specifically is an actual thing. If it's homebrew, do speak to your DM and follow the rules that you have selected both. But this is for fun, so just look up like half dragon, because Dragonborn and half dragon are different things. If you're talking about Dragonborn, if you're talking about Dragonborn, that's an actual thing. You can have that in the core rulebook. If you're a half dragon, it's a whole different thing. +2. Okay. There you go. So I have proficiencies in Intimidation and Arcana. I'm gonna have a lot of proficiencies. Okay, equipment. Starting equipment. Honestly, I don't really care about this, but it's really important. So I can either have a light crossbow with 20 bolts, or any simple weapon. I can have a component pouch or an arcane focus. I can have a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack and 2 daggers. So this is your equipment, your starting equipment when you start off in the game. So I'll just start with a simple weapon. I'll get a actually, I'll get a light crossbow. It says 20 bolts. I don't care about ammo. If your DM cares about it, talk to them about it. So to know whether or not you need to do it, right? Oh my god. But just keep that in mind. I'm not gonna write it down here. But write it down somewhere in your sheet to know that you have these things. Have like an inventory notebook to know what you have in your inventory so you don't lose track of it. But let's say I choose a light crossbow, an arcane focus, a explorer's pack, and 2 daggers. Let's just say I have that. But Rosco, what's a component pouch and what is an arcane focus? So a component pouch and an arcane focus are what you use to kind of draw from your magical powers. So every spell has 3 aspects to it, or could have 3 aspects to it. One is a vocal aspect, one is a somatic aspect, which is like hand signs, and another one is ingredients. So if a spell requires you, and this depends on DM from DM, because some people don't care about it, some people really care about it. If you're using a spell that requires somatic movements with your hands, if your hands are tied, you cannot cast that spell. If it requires vocal and you're gagged, you cannot cast that spell. If it's ingredients and you require like, I don't know, like bat guano, or you don't have your arcane focus on you, you can't cast that spell. Again, it does depend on your DM if they care about that or not. But it's a good thing to keep in mind. So I choose arcane focus because it just makes more sense to me as a sorcerer. But do write down your inventory so you don't lose track of it, especially your gold. Okay. Jesus Christ. All right. Oh. Let's do that. I love this part. Spells. Spellcasting. Woohoo! This is awesome. Okay. So, this is gonna be a headache. I'm not gonna lie. Let me explain to you. Oh, frick, hiccups. Do these tacos? Hold on. Oh, frick! No! Ah! No, please. Please, I need this dream, please. Don't do it. Oh, frick. Let a brother live, please. Oh, God. Oh, no, please. Please leave me alone, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not a fish, 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 okay. Oh, frick, no, it didn't work. All right, chat, hold on. I have deathless nature. That means I don't have to breathe. Oh, frick! Hold on. Oh, I did it again. Oh, I did it again, frick. Hold on. Lock in, chat. Okay. We're back. Wait, why is my alert box not on? Okay, alert box is not on, guys. Okay. Now, what we're talking about? Oh, spells. Okay. So, as a spellcaster, when you first start off, gamers, you get cantrips. So as a sorcerer at level 1, I get to know, I get to learn 4 cantrips of my choice. from the sorcerer spell list. Please keep in mind that every single class chooses specifically from a class spell list. There is not a master list for every single class unless specified in your class traits or some other trait that you can learn from that table. You need to learn from your specific table. So if you're a sorcerer, you can only learn from the sorcerer table. If you're a wizard, you can only learn from the wizard table. If you're a warlock, you can only learn from the warlock table. Again, there are exceptions, but the rule of thumb is if you are a certain class, you must learn from that class's table. Got it? Even rangers learn from a ranger table. Okay, there are exceptions like the Eldritch Knight, which learns from the wizard table, but that's because they're dipping into the magic aspect. So just remember, you have to learn from the class's specific table, not anyone else's, unless specified otherwise. So at level 1, I can learn 4 cantrips. Now, keep in mind, when learning cantrips and picking spells, not everything has to be an attack spell. And what I mean by that, there are spells like, or cantrips, let's do cantrips. There's cantrips that are used outside of combat and are used more in a roleplay conversation type aspect. For example, let's talk about Friends. Friends is an enchantment that you can cast on yourself. And this enchantment, guys, allows it so that you can roll advantage on all charisma checks on a creature that isn't hostile towards you for up to 1 minute in game. However, there's a downside. When the spell ends, that creature realizes that you use magic to influence the mood and becomes hostile towards you. Okay, so they'll figure out that you use magic to get them on your side, right? But they can be used in that sort of situation. I'm not saying don't get attack spells. I'm just saying that there's more to D&D than just combat, right? So for me, I do want combat spells. So what I'm gonna grab are ones that I feel like are very, very important to grab. So I'm gonna grab. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to grab. I'm gonna grab a damage spell, which is probably gonna be Ray of Frost. So I'm gonna grab Ray of Frost, which is a evocation spell, which is a damage spell. It's for attacking. Ray of Frost. I'm gonna increase the size of this. Ray of Frost, which does if I can look it up which does 1d8 cold damage so 1d8 cold. Again, specifying the type of damage is very important, chat, because there'll be resistances and also vulnerabilities in some cases. And if they get hit by this attack, chat, the creature gets their speed reduced by 10 feet, meaning they can move 2 less squares, which is really good for like maintaining like crowd control. Right, so that's if that's if it hits. Now, when you're a spellcaster, usually it's affected by your charisma score. So this is an attack when you roll to hit with this attack. So because of my charisma, I get a +4. Right? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember again. It's a +4, I think. I'm pretty sure. I don't think you had proficiencies. Unless I'm stupid, I'm wrong and dumb. That's a +4 because I have +4 charisma. Right? So and I have 3 more cantrips that I can use. So I'm gonna get another damage cantrip. However, I'm gonna get one that's just pure like hard damage. Or rather, I'm gonna get like a space denial type of thing. So I'm gonna get Thunderclap. Wait, no, it's not Thunderclap. Which one is it that I'm thinking of? Am I too brain rotted with Baldur's Gate? I think I might be. Which one is it? Okay, I'm gonna get Frostbite actually, because this inflicts disadvantage on attack rolls. So this one's Frostbite. Okay. And this will be a D6 cold damage. I'm stacking on cold damage, I know, but I just like these spells because they're really useful in combat and stuff. For like a starter stuff. Proficiency gets added to spell attack rolls. I don't remember. It's been a while. Let me check real quick. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Give me 1 sec, everybody. Give me 1 sec. Do you add proficiency? Spell attack rolls. Oh, I'm lying. It is proficiency. So it's +6. You do add your proficiency. Okay. Your spell. Okay, so for Frostbite is not an attack roll. It's actually a save. Decide on next attack. Okay. I'll just add that as a notes, just so we know. So you do add it. So Frostbite is not an attack spell, everybody. It's actually a saving throw spell. So it hits, but the damage done depends on whether or not they make the DC, your spell save DC. And how you determine your spell save DC is through... I gotta find it. So your spell casting save DC is 8 plus your proficiency. Oh, it says it right there for the spell attack. Is 8 plus your proficiency plus your charisma modifier. So let's calculate this. Right now, my proficiency is +2. So it's 8 plus 2, which is 10. But I also have a +4 to my charisma, which means the number that the creature that I'm targeting has to pass is a 14. So it's a DC 14, which DC stands for difficulty class, right? So they have to pass a DC 14 roll, or they take 1d6 cold damage, and it has disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn. So that's what it means. Okay. Next one I'm gonna choose is like sort of like a protection spell for myself, just to get people off of me. Let me see. I'm going to get... I'm gonna get Thunderclap. And so with this, they have to make a Constitution saving throw, which will be the same DC. It's just that they'll roll a different modifier, or use a different modifier than Dex. Let me actually specify it right there. So Frostbite requires a Dexterity saving throw, so I'll do Dex 14 instead of DC 14. Thunderclap. Thunderclap. Okay. And I'll write down con 14 just to specify that it's a Constitution saving throw, so I don't have to like keep looking back and forth on my spell sheet. So this would be Dex. So they roll Dex saving throw 14 or Con saving throw 14. That's what it is. And then my last spell that I'm going to be choosing, or my last cantrip, sorry, is going to be Mage Hand, because Mage Hand is useful in most situations. I like using Mage Hand a lot. I can do when I can pickpocket people. I can carry stuff. I just like it. So, actually, you know what? Based on how my character is, I'm gonna do Minor Illusion. So I have Minor Illusion as a cantrip. So I'm gonna grab Minor Illusion. Just based on how my character works. Okay, cool. Would you dap up with the Mage Hand? Yo, dap me up! It just goes through it. That was a boom. Okay. Now, at level 1, here's how spells work. So, you might be asking yourself, Rosco, what is the difference between a cantrip and a spell? Well, a cantrip is something you can use without limit all the time. You can cast Ray of Frost as many times as your heart desires. There's no limit. Okay? Spells require a resource called spell slots. And there are levels to spell slots, and there's an amount of spells that you can have learned. It depends on your class. So I'm gonna break it down for you. Starts dancing. Okay, so my water thing dropped me. So there are levels of spells. It goes level 1 to level 9. Level 9 being super powerful, uber crazy freaking spells, right? Level 1 is like basic, easier spells to cast. There are levels of spells. There's also spell slots, and spell slots are separated by these levels. So you can have 4 level 1 spell slots, but you can only have 2 level 2 spell slots. Do you understand what I mean? So you can't use your level 1s to cast a level 2, but you can use your level 2 to cast level 1s. Do you see where I'm getting at? You can always use a higher spell slot to cast a lower level spell, but you can never use a lower level spell slot to cast a higher level spell. And you have to know the difference. If there is a level 2 spell you want to cast, but you don't have a level 2 spell slot, you can't cast it. You can only cast it if you have a free level 3 spell slot. It's only the higher one. If it's higher than your spell slot in the level of spell, you can use the spell slot. But if it's lower, you can't. And some spells also have added effects when you use a higher spell slot. For example, more damage or more targets. So that's how spell slots work. They are a resource that usually are only recovered through a long rest. I know wizards have arcane recovery that they can do. They can cover a spell slot depending on how many points they used. As well as sorcerers, I think, too. Like, I have that ability, but it's a level 2. So can I put a level 1 spell and a level 2 spell slot? Not that anyone would need to do that, but yeah. Yes. So no, okay. So you have your spell slots and you have the spells that you learn or you know. Okay? In some cases, everybody, you have a spell book. Wizards are a big example of this. You have a spell book that you can interchange which spells you have at the ready. You have this is like your loadout. Think of it like a loadout. You have a loadout of spells. Okay? Wizards can change it whenever they want. I know clerics can change it whenever they want, I believe. Or like long rest or during rests. Warlocks can change it, I think. Sorcerers actually do not have the ability to change until they level up, and then they can change it. I think. But it's a loadout. So yes, you can use a level 2 spell slot. Isn't it when they take a long rest? Yeah. Exactly. That's what I mean by whenever they want, like at will, whenever they're resting. You can use a level 2 slot to cast a level 1 spell if you need to. Like if there's a level 1 spell that you need to cast, but you don't have a level 1 slot left, but you have a level 2 slot that you need to cast it at, you can use it. It's always like, should I do it or should I not? It's like, depends on the situation. Did you have time to prepare what spells? Yeah, you can prepare what spells every time during a long rest at the ready. So you can change it whenever you need to during a long rest. Whatever you think you need for the day, you can change it to that. So yeah, that's how spell slots work. How confusing was that from level 1 to 10? Because I had to take a long time to learn this. It was really weird. I don't blame you if you're confused. It takes a bit to get used to. Still a bit lost by the gist of it. It's like a car. Each spell is a car, and each spell slot is a type of gas. Cheaper cars can use cheaper gas. However, more expensive cars require more refined gas. You know what I mean? Like a cheaper car can use the refined gas, but a more expensive car cannot use the cheaper gas. Do you see what I'm saying? That's like the most confusing thing that people get mixed up on. Right? So a level 9 spell requires a level 9 slot. A level 5 spell requires a level 5 slot at minimum. But a level 5 spell can use a level 9 slot. However, it does not go backwards. That's what I'm trying to say. You'll get used to it over time. That's why we have a low amount of spells at level 1, so people can get used to the way that spell casting works. But that's like the basic principles. Okay. So for your spells, at level 1, sorcerers learn 2 spells. So at level 1, I can know 2 spells, and I have 2 level 1 spell slots. Knowing spells and spell slots are 2 different things. You can know more spells than you have spell slots for. Again, it's like your loadout and the amount of gas you have to use that loadout. It's like ammunition. It requires a bullet to use, right? So at level 1, I know 2 spells, and I only have 2 spell slots. So I'm not gonna choose a level 2 spell because I don't have that capability, right? So I'm gonna choose 2 level 1 spells. So what I'm gonna choose, and I have a humongous list of things that I can use. I have a humongous list. Okay? So what I'm gonna get for me is I'm gonna get Mage Armor. And I'm gonna get Magic Missile. Why Magic Missile? Magic Missile is so good. It is so good, you have no idea. It never misses. It never misses. It is the bread and butter of any spellcasting class. If you have it, and it's just Sorcerer and Wizard that has this. Right? You can just cast it and it just does it. It just does it. It's automatic. It is aimbot for tabletop roleplay. That is literally what it is. So I'm gonna write this down. Magic Missile. Well, it's wait, they say damage cantrips. Let me delete this real quick. I'm gonna move this to spells. I don't have a spell sheet here, chat. Usually you have a spell sheet attached to your character sheet, but I don't have that here. So I'll put my spells on the right side here. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this magic missile. And when you cast magic missile at level 1, chat, you throw out 3 of darts of this like magic force, and each dart deals a d4 plus 1. So times 3. I'll just do. Oh shit, plus 1. Yeah. However, this has the added benefit of being cast at higher levels. So if you cast it at higher levels, each level that's upcasted, which is what it's referred to when you use a higher level, each time you upcast it, you gain a dart. So if you cast it at 2nd level, instead of 3, you get 4 of them. So you roll 4 d4s, and you add plus 1 to each dart. So each dart does a d4 plus 1. That's what it is. It's really cool. I like that. So it's busted. It's really good. Like, it does low damage, but if you stack it up to like level 7, it stacks, bro. It stacks. Trust, it stacks. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. I love magic missile. I also have mage armor. Which, when casted on yourself, the base AC becomes 13. And you add your dex modifier. What does that mean? Your AC, chat, is your armor class, or AKA the number that enemies have to roll to hit you. So with mage armor, if my base AC becomes 13, I still have the ability to add my dexterity modifier, because by default, I believe everyone's base AC without armor, without anything else, is 10. I think so. So if I didn't add that, my base AC would be just 12. But with mage armor, it's a 15. Because it's plus 2 that I have here. Right? So if this makes it 13, plus 2, it goes to 15. However, you need to cast a spell to use it. I don't know if it's a ritual cast. I don't think it is. Yeah. Now, you actually may not need this in the future when perhaps your DM gives you like a piece of like clothing that increases your AC or gives you some sort of added benefit to like defense that will basically nullify or like make the mage armor spell redundant. So if that happens, as a sorcerer, when you level up, you can replace the mage armor with a different spell. So until you cast, your AC is maxed at 10. My base AC, like the minimum, is 10. I still have my dexterity, so my minimum overall will be 12 if I don't have mage armor. But if I do have mage armor, it's at 15, which is way better, right? It's better than 12, right? That's what it means. So you can always like mix and match spells if like you don't need it anymore. You're not like chained to using that spell, right? However, you could also change spells when you're still making your character, because if you find something that like basically kind of makes what you have redundant, you can just change it again. You don't have to like stick with what you've chosen all throughout character creation. You can mix and match and make sure things don't like overlap and stuff like that. And that's it for the spells at level 1. But that's just class. We still need to go to our subclass, because sorcerers get their subclass at level 1. So Salanel, being the way he is derived pretty much from Undeath, right? So the subclass that mostly fits him would be the Shadow Magic Sorcerer. Now, at level 1, shadow sorcerers can have dark vision up to 120 feet, which is twice as much, I believe, than races who have dark vision regularly. That's a lot. I can see in the dark or in black and white, essentially, up to 120 feet, which is a very long range. It is actually crazy. Right? And also at level 1, I have another ability called Strength of the Grave. This says, starting at level 1, your existence is in a twilight state between life and death, making you difficult to defeat. When damage reduces you to 0 hit points, you can make a charisma saving throw, which is a DC 5 plus the damage taken, and on a success, you instead drop to 1 hit point. You can't use this feature if you are reduced to 0 hit points by a radiant or by a critical hit. After the saving throw succeeds, you cannot use this feature again until you finish a long rest. Okay, let me break this down. Let me break down this ability. Right? That means it makes it harder for me to get knocked down or knocked out and force me to make saving throws. So, here's what this means, chat. So it says I have to make a charisma saving throw of DC 5 plus the damage taken if I'm reduced to 0 hit points. If I take 6 points of damage, let's make it harder. If I take 10 points of damage and that reduces me to 0, what would be the DC? What would be the difficulty class of the roll I have to make? It is 5 plus the damage taken. If I take 10 damage, what is it? What's the DC gonna be? 15. So I have to, yeah, exactly. I have to make a DC 15 saving throw in order to make, in order to just get dropped down to 1 hit point. Now, it specifically says a charisma saving throw, and I'm proficient in charisma saving throws. So I get a overall +6 bonus to my saving throw. And if I succeed, that means I'm only at 1 hit point and I'm still up. I'm still up. What was a DC? A DC is a difficulty class. So it just refers to the number you have to achieve in order to pass a certain roll. So for example, in this case, the DC would be derived from the damage that I've taken, and it refers to whether or not I stay conscious in a fight. Another example of a DC is whether or not I could persuade a character or an NPC to perhaps give me information on something. The DM will, concoct their own DC in their head or determine it based on how difficult it will be. And they'll let you know if you pass or not based on your roll. But continuing on, so this makes me really hard to die, chat. That means I can re-roll. I can basically stay alive barely and move out of harm's way to re-heal or get it better ground, right? However, I can only do this feature once, meaning if I get hit and I use the feature and I succeed, if I get hit again and I get knocked down, that means I can't use the feature again. But do remember, chat, because I'm a reborn, I also have the ability to have advantage on death saving throws. So I'm really hard to kill, and that's really important as a sorcerer because you're so squishy. You don't have a lot of health compared to other classes like fighter or paladin or a barbarian, right? So it makes me really hard to die because of my race trait, which is really good. It's a really good combo. Works together, these two. I have two shields that protect me from dying completely, right? And that's that. So I have dark vision up to 120 feet. And I also have charisma saving to go to 1 HP. This is how I do it, chat. Just it makes it easier for me to remember things. I don't like putting the actual name if I don't know what it does. So like Strength of the Grave could confuse me for the other race thing that I have. So I just put what my ability does and then put it in there. So I have Dark Vision 120 feet and I have to do a charisma saving throw to go to 1 HP instead of 0. That's what it is. The 1 HP thing is similar to half orcs. Half orcs, yeah, Andrew said it. Half orcs have a thing called Relentless Endurance. I think it's an automatic thing that they can just decide to do it, where they just go to 1 HP instead of going to 0. This one depends on a roll. But yeah, that's that. Okay, moving on. That is actually everything for level 1 Shadow Sorcerer. However, I do want to tell you like the cool things you get when leveling up. So when I reach level 6 as a Shadow Sorcerer, I can actually call forth a little doggo, a shadow doggo, called the Hound of Ill Omen. And they can, they're like ghosts, and they can like move through objects and stuff and everything. Let me see. And you can like select the target for it to like chase down. And no matter what the target does, the Hound of Ill Omen will always know where the target is, which is scary. Which is scary. And if the dog is within 5 feet of the target has disadvantage on saving throws against any spell that you cast. It does have hit points though. So it has hit points equal to half your level. If you're at level 1, then it's 1. If you're level 2, it's still 1. It's really cool. But you get at level 6, so you'll have a good enough amount of it'll have like 3 hit points probably. So it's really cool. It's really cool. And then at level 14, you get Shadow Walk. You gain the ability to step from one shadow into another. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space. You can see that it's also in dim light or darkness. So you can teleport at will. There's no like resource for this. You can just do it whenever you can. And then at level 18, you can spend 6 sorcery points as a bonus action to transform yourself into a shadowy form. In this form, you have resistance to all damage except force and radiant. You can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but you take 5 force damage if you end your turn inside an object. You can remain in this form for 1 minute. It ends early if you're incapacitated, if you die, or if you dismiss it as a bonus action. So that's pretty cool. It is really cool. I like this class a lot. I have yet to play a Shadow Sorcerer, but it sounds really cool, both gameplay and roleplay wise. Okay. Yippee. However, let's move on to. I gotta eat. Let's go down. Let's go down. Where did I move this? Okay. So, next up. Oh, sure. I didn't have the damage for Thunderclap, huh? I'll do that right now. Oh my god, bro! It's always. Never mind. Oh my god, are you serious, bro? What's up with these Frick, dude! What's up with these hiccups? Oh my god! Oh, I'm so sorry. It's every time I eat this damn taco, man. Oh my god. It's every single time. Every time I take a bite of this damn taco, I get hiccups, dude. It's awful. Okay. Now, we're gonna move on. So, since I'm already here, I'm gonna initiative. Chat, let's look at initiative, everybody, please. If you could turn your pages to initiative. Your initiative is usually, unless it's stated otherwise, is usually your dex modifier. So since I have a +2 to my dex, I get a +2 to my initiative. Does that make sense? If it's stated otherwise, or it adds something like monks or rogues probably have like a bonus to this, it's usually just your dex modifier. So just keep that in mind. If it says add this to your initiative bonus, you would add whatever number tells you to do it. But usually just your dexterity. So I just put +2 because my dexterity score is 14, which gives me a +2 modifier, which is a +2 to my initiative. Cool. Okay. Continuing on. Our background. Oh, let me do this. I think it was 18. Yes. Okay. So, my background. Your background is mostly used for roleplay and to give an explanation of where you come from and your beginnings and all that. However, backgrounds also do come with proficiencies and other things, like for example an ability you can use. So for me as Silenel, I am of a noble background. So as a noble, that means I have proficiency in history and persuasion, which are both under, which one is under intelligence and the other is under charisma. So I have proficiency in history. Frick, that doesn't look right. History. And I have in, come on, in persuasion. Meaning I get that +2 to my proficiency bonus. Right? So, but also keep in mind, chat, that I didn't use my proficiencies that I get from my race, from my reborn traits, because I have 2 skills that I can choose to add proficiency in. Now, what I'm gonna do, chat, purely based off how my character would probably be, Silenel isn't a liar. He's not a liar. He tries to be as, good as possible. So he'll lie when he needs to, but he isn't proficient at lying because he doesn't lie a lot, right? He'll try not to. However, he is very cautious. So I'm gonna put proficiency in perception because of how cautious he is. He's very nervous. He doesn't know who he can trust, and that's gonna be in his lore, right? So he gets a proficiency in perception, and due to his shadowy nature, I think I'm gonna give him proficiency in stealth. Right. So I'm gonna give them his +2s here. I don't know what the heck size I made the other thing, but I'll just do +2 here. The stealth, I'm gonna give a +2 to perception, and then +2 to history because of my background as a noble. Is it this? I believe it is. Oh shoot, did I move it yet? My bad. Sorry about that. Okay. And then I'm +2 into persuasion. There you go. How many characters do we get? You get 1 character at a time. That's how it usually rolls. You get 1 character at a time. If your character dies, you can make a new character. If you're gonna start a new campaign with a new table, a new DM, new everything, you make another character. Okay, only one character at a time per game. Okay, then that's everything. So pretty split out charisma scores, right? Purely based off how my character is, what his background is and everything. However, along with your background, since I'm noble, there are variants, but I do like the regular one it gives me. Position of privilege. Thanks to your noble birth, people are inclined to think the best of you. You are welcome in high society, and people assume you have the right to be wherever you are. The common folk make every effort to accommodate you and avoid your displeasure, and other people have high birthright, treat you as a member of the same social sphere. You can secure an audience with a local noble if you need to. So, for example, the Lucorvo name is a noble name that's decently well known throughout whatever land I'm in. However, we'll go into later. They'll be surprised when they hear my name and see like my family sigil or something like that, right? So I'm gonna put this in. I'll put this in class features actually, just so it's there. Position. But they'll listen to me because I'm of noble blood. So that'll affect me, right? I could also go alternatively, chat. Alternatively, I could also go haunted one. I could also do that. So it's interchangeable. For right now, I'll do noble just because it makes sense to me. But we'll do that. Okay. And honestly, hold on, let me look up passive perception real quick. So your passive perception is literally just 10 plus your wisdom modifier. However, if you're also proficient in perception, you add the proficiency. But since I am, I would add that. So it's gonna be 10 plus 1 plus 2, which is 13. So my passive perception is 13. This would be used in moments where, for example, if someone pickpockets you without you knowing it, if they roll lower than your passive perception, you catch them, even if you're not like aware of it. What's Haunted One? Haunted One's a background, similar to Noble, that you can choose when making your character, and it'll give you like different feats and stuff like that. That's what it is. Do I have anything else for Noble that I forgot to choose? Oh, also as a Noble, I get a tool proficiency in a gaming set. I'll just choose dice. Maybe like I gamble or something. I don't know. It's roleplay heavy. It just depends. I'll do like actually, you know what? I'll do Dragon Chess. That's a thing in the game. Dragon Chess. We'll do Dragon Chess. I get to learn an extra language. So since maybe I deal a lot with dwarves, I'll know Dwarven. Maybe that's a thing, right? Maybe my family had a lot of business with mines or something, and they know it's dwarf, so I'll learn Dwarven. And then sometimes like folks from Underdark will come through those mines, and we have to learn Undercommon. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But yeah, that is pretty much it for that. I think I have one more thing. And I get a set of fine clothes, a signet ring, skull pedigree, and a purse containing 25 gold pieces. So I have 25 gold extra. Gold depends on table to table. There's a class specific rule when rolling for gold. But talk to your DM to see if they do that. If they do that, then you can. If they do the class specific gold roll, then you can do that. But just talk to your DM. Talk to your DM. But yeah. Feats, you don't get feats until level 4 if you choose a feat. Besides that, everything else, we're pretty much good to go on Silent now. That's pretty much it. This is a character sheet for a level 1 character. There it is. We don't get feet? Yeah, you don't get feet. You have to be in a wheelchair until level 4, sorry. It's just how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, level 1. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's how you make a character. That's how you make a character sheet in D&D. Confusing, I understand. I get it. It's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of rules that you have to learn over time. But I would say just take it slow. Take it steady, and over time you'll get used to the rules, how it works, and everything, and all that. But we're not done yet, though. I do want to make a backstory, with you guys, or sort of what's the word? A outline of how to make a good backstory for your character. So let me get rid of that real quick. Okay, so. Make it a character. How does it work? How does this work? How do you do this? Where do you start? What do you start with? You know, making how they look, making how they you know, what their backstory and all that. So making a backstory. Making a PC backstory. PC refers to player character. So. Let's start with the beginning. So, how did your character start adventuring? Now, this is not the beginning. This is not the beginning of your backstory. This is what you should look into when making a backstory. How'd you get into D&D? Critical Role. If you guys don't know, there is a online D&D group called Critical Role. They've been really successful in the past 10 years. And they're like a bunch of voice actors that play D&D, and they got me into playing D&D with my group of friends in high school. And I started playing it, and that's how I got into it. And that's why I'm very lore heavy, because I like how they do it personally. I know Zander hates Matthew Mercer. Zander despises Matthew Mercer, but I love Matthew Mercer. He inspired my way of DMing. I based the way I DM off of him. Pretty much. Yeah, he does not like Matthew Mercer. It's all pre-planned, it's not real D&D. I'm like, okay, dude. It's still fun to watch. As long as everyone's having fun, I don't care. Wait, can you go over spell slots again? How it works? Is it like bullets in a barrel, or just boxes you can fill in? If they're full, it's done. The spell is a gun, and the bullets are the spell slots. If you don't have bullets for the gun, it doesn't work. He said it in your first D&D. Hey, he said it. He said it before, but he hates Matt. He despises Matthew Mercer with a passion. He hates it. But continuing on with the backstory stuff. So when making a PC backstory, what you need to explain is how your character ended up adventuring or ended up where they are. So let me write that down. End up where they are. Okay? So you need to explain that. For example, Salano was a noble. However, he doesn't know this. He doesn't know this because his memory is blurry. I'm just saying like what I plan for him. I'll tell the DM like what I'm planning, and he'll make a story with that, right? So Salano was a noble. He was like the inheritor of his family's business or whatever, right? Of his estate. And they were friends with another family who they had helped years ago. And that family also became prestigious, and they were very close. And that family also had kids and everything, right? And they were very close. They were like siblings until one night, when Salano was like much like, you know, like in his 20s, right? his family was murdered, and he died as well. He remembers specifically his head coming off of his body, and he can seeing his own body on the floor. That's like a very visceral memory that he has happening to him. However, he woke up one day fully intact, but not the same. He actually has a scar. That's how I'm imagining him. He has a scar across his neck that's mended, his neck came back onto his body. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know why, and now he has his new powers. And he's been wandering, and until he eventually finds, the adventuring party that he would, join, obviously, and he would find out where these powers stem from, what happened to his family, what happened to the other family, right? What happened to his estate, his inheritance, his legacy, what happened to that. He would start remembering slowly who he was and what had happened to him, right? And there's two ways I could go about this character, right? But we'll get into that later. So when making a PC backstory, you have to explain how did your character start adventuring / end up where they are, right? Create NPCs. Oh yeah, create NPCs, like family, friends, enemies, right? That making NPCs in your backstory will help your DM flesh out the story that you want to tell with your character, right? It'll help your DM with that. And making places is also, I like when my players create names for places, so I don't have to worry about that. Oh yeah, I come from this village or this town or this city. I'm like, okay, I can put this here. That'll fill up that area. You know what I mean? The more detail, the better, in my personal opinion. I require at least 1 page of backstory for my players, just to give me a good idea what they want. If they can write a whole butt ton, I'm happier with that. If they write a freaking buttload of backstory and lore and stuff, that makes my life 10 times easier, because I don't have to worry about it, right? Another thing you want to do, and this is just a personal thing, this is from me. Let your backstory explain your class. And what do I mean by that? When I say explain your class, I want your backstory to make it, I want to say validated. Make it so your class, what class you chose, fits the flavor. You know what I mean? In the same way that, for example, Salanel, he's revived from the dead, but now he has these dark powers, these dark necromantic-esque powers and stuff. That makes sense for a shadow sorcerer, right? That would make sense. It's the closest thing to it. Because what I like from flavor, for example, I'm going to pull from Critical Role. There was a character in the second campaign of Critical Role, played by Travis Willingham. He was a voice actor, named Ford. And Ford was a warlock, a hexblade warlock. And usually a hexblade warlock, their flavor is very shadowy, the same way that Salanel is, right? Because the lore is you have a cursed blade from the Shadowfell, right? However, Ford's hexblade warlock was very sea themed. His patron was Cthulhu-esque. His patron was Cthulhu-esque, and thalassophobia type stuff, creature from the abyss, right? So let your backstory explain your class, meaning don't let the flavor text of the rulebook limit to how you want your character to look, right? If your character is, for example, a ranger, people, when they think of rangers, they think of bows and all that kind of natural kind of foliage thing. You could make a ranger that's a tank, bro. A ranger in its very minimal definition is someone who travels long distances. They're a mercenary kind of type deal, you know what I mean? So let your backstory explain your class, right? There's also a warlock. I have another character, another idea for a character, using the genie pact for warlock. But instead of like a regular genie, there's like different elements you can select, because genies in D&D are like elementals in more ways than one, right? I want to choose the merid genie, which is like water and stuff. So I wanted to have like, oh yeah, instead of like a lamp, I have like a conch, like a sea conch that I can summon and I can go inside of and stuff like that. It just changed things around, right? It's all flavor. Like these like cosmetic things are all flavor. I want you to make a character that you really like. When you think about it, you can like imagine it. It's like, oh yeah, that's the character right there. So like, let your backstory explain your class and how it works. Flavor is everything. This is a continuation on how I like D&D characters. If the book says it looks one way, you can make it look another way, as long as it's the same thing. You know what I mean? As long as it's the same thing. The example with Ford, he's a Hexblade Warlock, but it's not shadowy and dark and everything. It's very sea themed and water and Cthulhu and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It just have fun with it. If you have a certain way you want to portray yourself, do it. Do it. You know what I mean? What's another one? Oh. If you want to have shared backstories, I keep studies. If you want to have shared backstories with other players, please talk to them. Another example I make from Critical Role, dude, was in the first campaign. Two of the players were siblings in the game, and they had a shared backstory. So if you want to share a backstory or share some part of your backstory with them, so you have like a shared beginning type deal, so like you already know them and stuff like that. Again, talk to others if you want to have a shared backstory and see if they're comfortable with that. I don't usually do shared backstories. I like having my own backstory because I like having a spotlight and I'm an attention seeker. But if you want to have a shared backstory, but somebody else asks you, you know, maybe that's a consideration you can always do, right? Yeah. Besides that, honestly, it just depends on how you want to do things. The more, the better. The more, the better. Let me put that. The more, the better. Meaning, if you write more, it's way better than writing less. Like you have so much detail that you're fleshing your character out. You know what your character wants, right? So if you write more, it's better for you. It's better for your DM. It's better for the game because it creates a storyline that they can follow, right? And it can lead to like, I don't know. Different like paths down the line. But do not forget, you are not the main character. You are part of a team. What do I mean by this? I mean, do not create a character that attention seeks every single part, every single time. You will have your time to shine. Okay? You will have your time to shine. You will have your own moments. You will have your like spotlight highlight reels, right, on ESPN and everything. But you are sharing the table with other people who also want the same thing, right? So please make sure, not only in backstory, but in personality and how you play your character, don't make them a nuisance on the table, please. I'm begging you. It ruins so many tables when one person wants to be the guy for everything and they don't have that, let anyone else have fun, right? But and keep in mind, if you're starting at level 1, you haven't really done much. You haven't done like crazy things. You haven't killed dragons. You haven't killed gods. You're level 1. So remember your level. If you're trying to level 12, you got some experience under your belt, right? You got some things you've done. But if you're level 1, level 3, you really haven't done a lot, right? So make your backstory, if you're a lower level character, fit with the power of your character. right? There's all these nuances to writing. I might be overwhelming you. Take it slow again. Take it slow. Take it easy. Take it steady in your first character. You don't have to do like the biggest thing in the world at the first time, but I'm just giving you tips for future reference. Like the Avallum D&D stream, everyone had their moment, I think. Yeah, everyone had their moment. Everyone had a chance to speak. Everyone had the chance to talk and display what their character can do and how their character is. It's a shared experience, everybody. It's a shared experience. Everyone's there to have fun, and you don't want to be hogging the fun. In my campaign right now, I have a player playing a Celestial Warlock, but because of his backstory, believes he's a cleric, and it's a really fun character. That's cool. That's a cool concept. I actually like that. I actually like that concept. That's really cool. Yeah, it's like unique twists on characters and stuff. It's really dope to see. All right, add in the character that I've been concocting for a while. And he was like this, it's like Pinocchio, where he used to be a like combat doll thing, that was controlled by a mage, remotely, but it somehow gained sentience, and so is trying to find his own way through the world and stuff like that. Yeah. You can also make an OP character, but was nerfed. Like in Baldur's Gate 3. Example, in Baldur's Gate 3, Will used to be like super powerful, but he has like a worm in his head that nerfs him. That could be an explanation. Like you could be really accomplished, but something happened to you that caused you to lose your abilities. Anything like that, but make sure that your backstory explains your level as well, and your class. So yeah. Is there anything else I want to say? Any questions? Any questions concerning a backstory? No? Maybe? Perhaps? Can you make a character's primary weapon as a frying pan? Would it be a bludgeoning damage if you hit it? What kind of stats would you have for the pan? Okay. What I would do is I would just reskin a weapon, a regular weapon, and just call it a frying pan, but I would use the same stats, pretty much. So kind of like making an OC. Yeah, pretty much. Kind of like making an OC. Just keep in mind, like, the OC has to abide by some sort of rules or some sort of like preemptive knowledge of the game / level you're starting at. Yeah, it's making an OC with some caveats. Yeah. So yeah, and then building your character is a separate thing. It's as you level up. Like I said before, when you level up, when you reach level 4, that's when you get the option to either increase ability scores or get a feat. If you increase ability scores, you can either choose 1 score and increase it by 2, or choose 2 scores and increase them by 1. You can also alternatively choose a feat. There are multiple feats that you can choose. There's an alert feat, there's a mobile feat, there's a sentinel feat, there's the crossbow mastery feat. There's a bunch of feats you can choose. It all depends on how you want to make a character, how you want to build your character. It's all on your own choice, min-maxy type stuff. It's what you have fun with. So yeah. Anything else I want to see for making backstories? No. No, I think that's pretty much like the basis of it. Like, just to help you make a backstory. When are you gonna run a one-shot for us? Okay, dude. There's like, what, 60k of you? You're crazy. All right, let me take your turn. It takes like 5 hours to get through one little thing. You're wild, dude. Hell no. What do you think the hardest part of making a backstory is? I think the hardest part of making a backstory is figuring out the basics of it. I think once you start writing, you figure out like where the story is gonna go and everything. I think the hardest part of making a backstory is the very beginning, like getting a concept. Like you could always roll first, right, and have stats ready, but like you don't really know what you want your character to be until you really think about it. When I make a character myself, here's what I do. Here's what I do. When I make a character myself, every character that I make, has a piece of me. And what I mean by that is that I choose a trait of mine or a feeling that I'm familiar with, and I make that sort of the arc of the character. In Sileno's case, Sileno's character arc is depression. He is lost. He doesn't know what to do. Everything he had is just completely gone, and he's stuck. Right? Everything was taken from him, and he's just sad. He's a sad man. He is a sad man. And so I chose to make that his character arc, because from an idea that I have for Sileno, this is like the good ending, right? Is I also want to make him a cleric at the end. So once he figures out what he is and he accepts that part of him, perhaps a god will come to him and provide him some sort of a levity of his affliction. And then he becomes like the light in the dark, because he's very dark based, like very darkness shadowy based. And so I want to multi-class him into a Twilight cleric. So he'll be a shadow sorcerer and Twilight cleric. And Twilight clerics are very, very cool. They can form like a dome that can protect allies. It's very, very cool. I love the Twilight cleric as well. Very thematically, it's very nice, very cool to look at. So he'll be like the guiding light in the dark, right? And all that stuff. Like his staff will have like a lantern. I think it's very cool. And also Sileno, like at level 1, he's very pale. His eyes are black, like not like his Slayer, but his pupils are just like black. He's like not dark brown, not no color. They're black. And his hair is white. But when he becomes a cleric, like it's like life is brought back into him. Like he's warm again. He has color in his skin. His eyes are back to what they were. Like his hair and eyes are the colors they wore before he died. He has like green eyes and like kind of dirty blonde hair. That's what I thought about when I created Sileno. Actually, Sileno isn't his real name. He made up a name to hide who he was. Sileno isn't his real name. His real name is Galliard. His real name is Galliard Lecorvo. He actually picked Sileno from like grave he was next to when he woke up. Galliard, it's like this. So his real name is this is like the full thing. So Galliard, Sileno. Lecorvo. That's a regular name, dude. Galliard's a name. It's an actual name. Yeah, I donated right out the back because he didn't know who he was exactly, and he remembered later, but it was already too late to change it back to Galliard. So he just chose Sileno. What Galliard do you know? It's a name taken from ancient times. I think the modern version of Galliard is Gaylord. But Galliard sounds cool. Galliard sounds cool. Imagine Gaylord. My real name's Gaylord. Oh, okay. Oh my god. But yeah, his real name is Galliard, but he just used Sileno. Yeah, so that's his whole thing. His whole thing is depression and coming out of depression, and realizing that he hasn't really lost anything, and in fact, he's found something new, a new family, and that would be his party. So that's a story bit that I make for each character. Here's what I also do. I pick a vibe and I run with it. So what I mean by that is that, again, Silent, the main idea is depression, and he's very sad. So what goes along with that? Shadows, right? Darkness, drabby, dirty, like tattered type feeling. You know what I mean? So I chose that vibe and I made it into him, and I put that into him, and I have an idea of what he looks like. You know, sad looking. His head has like bags under his eyes, dark circles. Very kind of shy, very timid, jumpy. You know what I mean? And as soon as he starts coming out of his shell, he'll become more open. He'll have like less clothes over him. He'll be more open. He'll be more confident, still reserved, but still like more proud and things like that as time goes on. Maybe he'll start doing his hair. And once he becomes that cleric, he'll become happy. He'll be joyful. He'll be smiling. He'll be someone that people go to when they need something, like they need help or something. That kind of vibe, coming out of his shell type beat. Recovering from what happened to him, and realizing that he has something new, right? And yeah. And after that, I just start writing. I create like a basic timeline. This is the last thing I do before I start writing. Okay, I create an list of important names. Okay, yeah, so I make a timeline and a list of important names. So I would make the names first. Like, oh yeah, I have a dad, I have my mom, I have my butler, I have whatever this, right? And in another family, I have the mom, dad, the kids, whatever. And then from there, I create a basic timeline. Okay, I was born, I did this, I did that, I with my new family, and I died, right? And I create that basic outline, and like, okay, I know what the events need to happen. Let's do it, and let's add details. And when I mean details, I mean like maybe small things that happen. Maybe you mentioned something you really like doing as a kid to flesh out your character and give them more personality. Like for example, if I like playing dragon chess as a kid, that means I would be really good at dragon chess when I'm adventuring and stuff like that. It makes sense because I have proficiency in dragon chess. So he'd be the savior of the broken and beating the damned. Yes, he'd be part of the Black Parade. Yeah. So, would your character wear briefs or boxer briefs? Tattered briefs. He won't change till level 5. Yeah. If, like, for example, let's do another vibe. Let's say your character's like a freaking hot elf, right? You know what I mean? Maybe they have a trait where they're actually not projecting. What's the word? Not compromising, not projecting. Making up for like their insecurities. They're very outgoing and very flirty and everything because they're very insecure. That could be another thing, right? That's what I like to do. Overcompensate. Thank you so much. They're compensating for something. Exactly. Thank you. They're compensating for something, right? That could be another like arc or trait that your character has. Yeah. And if you have, embrace the flaws of your character. For example, what I like to do if I get low rolls, if my character has a low roll and I put it in like intelligence, I'll make him a little stupid, a little gullible, a little dumb. You know what I mean? Or if they have a negatives to their charisma, I'll make them like kind of a jerk. Not too much of a jerk, but like it's like really hard to get along with them unless you like really know them and stuff. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, embrace the flaws of your character, because flaws are what make us as people. Flaws is what make us human in real life. Nobody's perfect, right? You've heard that line said so many times throughout your life, right? Nobody's perfect. Nobody is good all the time, every time, right? people have flaws, people have imperfections. Now that's what makes us people. And honestly, that's what allows love to be real. And I mean this in loving your character, or in loving them as like less than a character, more of just another person, or a reflection of who you are. Because despite all these flaws, despite, you know, their insecurities, or, you know, mistakes they made, they're still trying their best. And maybe they're trying to make a difference, maybe they're trying to attain their goals. They're still trying their best, and trying their best and trying to achieve things is a very human thing to do. That's how we accomplish a lot of things in our short lives. Your short lives, because I'm a zombie, I'm only forever. In your short lives as human beings, is the desire to achieve and the motivation to attain more despite our flaws, mistakes, despite our imperfection. That's what makes a good character a character. Because you can immerse yourself and they seem real to you. Right? So that's my sort of way that I view making characters. Aside from that kind of thing, nobody's perfect. The guy who got 18 in every stat, and they could have they could be narcissistic, right? They could be narcissistic. Like a character like that could be narcissistic because they're just good at everything, right? That could be a flaw, right? There you go. Easy peasy. I rolled 118. I rolled 118, bro. Only one, okay? They were decent stats. They weren't crazy though. I rolled 118. But yeah, that's what I do when making characters. When it comes to accent and voice and personality, again, it's just based on your backstory. Accent, not really much. Your backstory, just what you can do. I was thinking of making him French, but I can't do a good French accent, so I'll probably make him British or something, or just like a more calm, shy demeanor, like, you know. What's a good example? They could be like, well, frankly, I don't know where I come from. All I have is what I think is my name and this ring in my finger. That's all, like a very breathy, quiet kind of guy, you know what I mean? Right, and as they get more confident, maybe when they become a cleric of whatever deity they become a Twilight cleric for, they can become more proud, and like as they like kind of like say like their oath or their promise, you know, they sound more confident. I promise to be the light in the dark. Something like that. Right. There is nothing to fear. Something like that. Or if I'm playing like, I had another character that I was thinking about, like a tabaxi is a cat, like a cat folk type thing. So I was thinking like a giant tiger, strawberry giant tiger paladin who has a Russian accent. He's super jovial all the time. Hello, comrade, how are you? We're going to save the day, yeah? That kind of thing. Yes! That he like loud, jovial kind of thing, you know? But when he's in combat, he's mad serious. He's scary in combat. So, it really just depends on what you feel like. If you want to just do your regular voice, then by all means go for it. You just want to talk as yourself, that's fine. You know, people tend to shy away a little bit from roleplay. And that's fine, you know, people are shy. They don't want to get too into it because it's kind of embarrassing. I understand. I was like that a little bit when I first started DMing. I didn't want to do voice because I was scared. But the more you do it, the more comfort you'll get. It's very fun, chat promise. It's very, very, very fun to roleplay. You can do lots of southern accent like this. Like I had another character, another tabaxi that I made. He was a bard. Looked like a cheetah. His name was Riki. And he talked like in a southern accent like this. And he was very suave. How do you get comfortable role playing? It's a very over the time kind of thing. people don't judge you in D&D. Everyone's there to do the same thing as you. So it takes a little bit of time, and I feel like the more comfortable you get with your table, the more willing you are to roleplay with them and like be in your character. You will be nervous, don't get me wrong. People, I remember in my first D&D campaign in high school, a lot of people were kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they were kind of nervous and everything. Like, okay. And so I kind of set the precedent for them. Like I had to work up my courage to get other people comfortable. So I started doing voices and I started being like, oh, so people would get comfortable and also do the same thing. So that's what I had to do. But it's over time. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to each other. It'll be easier if the other players are like veterans or they've played D&D many times before. It'll be easier. But if everyone's a new player, it takes a little bit for everyone to get comfortable with how they're portraying their character and everything. How long have you been playing? I have been playing on and off for how do I not date myself? Let's say more than 5 years. I've been playing on and off D&D for about 5 years. And I have decent experience. I won't say I have like I'm a veteran. I'm really not. I'm baby, most likely. I'm baby for the most part, but I do have experience. I do know the ins and outs of character creation. I know a lot about making worlds because that's all I've ever done when making a character or when DMing. I've only created worlds. I've never used pre-made modules. I've never done it. I don't know why. What is wrong with me? It's awful. I hate myself. Would you still say you're a novice in a sense? I think I'm average. I think I'm casual. But I still have a lot to learn when DMing and stuff. I'm by no means a master. But I just like the game. I like the hobby a lot. And I want to play with more people and DM for people and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to do with Avallum and everything. But we're all so busy. We can't do it every week. We can't, How'd you make D&D friends? I made D&D friends in high school, so I was chill with that. It's hard for other people to find friends online because it's a huge toss-up. If you have friends online already, like maybe you have friends in the Rosco community, maybe ask them if they want to play D&D. That way you already have, a group of people because a lot of the fun with D&D is playing with people that you're comfortable with and that you know. How often did you DM for a group? Ooh, shush. I had a stint for like 4 years where I DM'd for several groups for like a bit, but then everyone got busy. A lot of them fell off, I'm not gonna lie. I would spend so many months on making the world and they fell off like 5 sessions in maybe. That was really sad. And then I took a break after a bit and I haven't DM'd until Avallum. I do want to DM more offline with Avallum and Ravenous as well, and just for fun, just to like get back into it. I feel like I want to do that just for like a bonding exercise, like a bonding thing that we can all do offline without like the necessity or like the fear of like having to entertain other people. You know what I mean? Would you ever join Ruse's Hollow Marches even for one session? I would. If you okay, I don't want to push it. Okay, Loki. Low-key, before we debuted, like I was kind of looking, you know what I mean? I was kind of looking. I was like, oh, he likes D&D, and then I saw that he was making like his own world and everything. I was lurking in there just to see and everything. I like how he makes his world. It's really nice. He's very intricate and stuff like that. As he makes drawings and everything. Like he visualizes everything. I don't do that. I just describe it in words. But if he would invite me, I don't want to push it. I'm just speaking it into the ether. Okay? I'm just saying it. It would be very cool to be part of his campaign because it's a very interesting world he's created. I think it's very dope. Rosco at Altus D&D sesh would be awesome. I have a plan, and I've already talked to Altus about this, but I want to get through all the work that we have before I start anything. Because I made Prima Terra chat with the main goal of it being used as a campaign setting. That was the main goal of Prima Terra, was to be used as a campaign setting, especially the Age of Glass, because the Age of Glass was very tumultuous and a lot of things would have happened during that time. The age prior is a different story that I will not reveal until I reveal it later. But the Age of Glass is very good for a setting, especially in the long history that it has. So I would really like to use the Age of Glass as a campaign setting, because it expands through a long amount of time, so we can do like different campaigns and like have it be like a future time, and like it's cool. I just like that. So yeah, Prima Terra was mainly created for a campaign setting. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's how I make characters, everybody. That's how I make a character. This is what I look for to when making backstories and lore and stuff. I hope you have a good time. I don't know. Time kind of flew by pretty quick. What do you guys think? Does the Age of Glass come from D&D session with Avallum? No, the Age of Glass was before. So the Avallum is in the most recent kind of era. The Age of Glass came prior to them. Yeah, Otsu, Otsu. Thank you so much. That was fun. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed making a character. If you did, hopefully you guys maybe have ideas for characters that you want to make in the future. Maybe I did inspire you to start playing D&D. Maybe you're gonna gather a group of friends and hopefully start, you know, making good campaigns, adventures. You know what I mean? If you actually made a character and you filled out a character sheet, please, I ask, like, tweet it out. Use like my live tag. Tweet out the character sheet. I want to see what you guys made and everything. If you did, I'll be doing it myself. I'll be sharing the character sheet on Twitter. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely do want to play more D&D. In fact, actually, I'm such a freaking Matthew Mercer simp. I swear to God, dude. I want to buy the Critical Role's new tabletop game called Daggerheart. I want to see how that plays. I want to buy it though, and maybe whenever I meet up with the guys again, I'll probably run a quick Daggerheart one shot to see if it's good to play. You know what I mean? I want to expand away from D&D and see what other games we can play as well. Because I know Zanny is really keen on TTRPGs. He's gonna hate that I bring a Daggerheart though, because it's by Matthew Mercer. But I want to see if I can make it sound or make it work for him. I'm curious. Yeah. Should we have a tag to post our characters? Just use hashtag #equals Rosco. That should be perfectly fine. And you can put it in a rat trap if you want to. Yeah. Yep. Got any tips for useful tricks for world building? Dude, world building is an entirely different thing, my man. Tell you what. I'll probably do another stream concerning world building in the future, because that will take a lot of prep and a lot of information of things that I do when making worlds and making, like, you know, history and gods and everything, and what to do, what you can do. It's gonna take a very long time to describe it. It'll take like another 3 hours to explain it. So maybe in the future I'll make a world building stream, and I'll give you my my amateur thoughts on how to make a world, as I am lore master of my company, FSP, and I have experience in making lore and worlds and everything. So hopefully maybe in the future I can do a world building stream, and we can, you know, cook something up quick to explain how these things work. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a lot of lore. The lore is crazy. If you know me, chat, I love lore to a fault. I love lore to a fault. It is awful. I refuse to use modules because I always want to make my own worlds. It is awful. I hate myself for this, dude. I always do it, dude. I always do it. It's, oh my God. Anyways, I'm done. All right. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. I really do appreciate it. Crisóstomo, thank you for 14 months. Casa, no entendí nada, pero te viste guapo haciéndolo. I want to try making a D&D character now. Happy 14 months. You're doing great, sweetie. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you so much. Don't worry. You can watch it again and learn. All right, chat. VOD question. VOD question. Leave it in the comments down below after the stream ends. What's your favorite class in D&D and why? If you don't have a favorite class, then maybe what was your favorite part of the stream? All right, so leave it in the comments down below once stream ends. So it helped me a lot. Leave a like, please. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, please sub. Please, I beg you, please. It would be really nice if you could sub. Okay, enough shelling. And yeah, that's pretty much it, gamers. I am gonna send you to my Kohai. I think they're the only one streaming right now. Knights of Underage. They're playing Supermarket Sim. So I'm gonna send you over to my duo, Knights of Underage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for showing up, having fun with me, chilling out, being cool. I'll catch you tomorrow. We're gonna be making Ravenous into Roscoe's. We're gonna be finishing the last 2 members of Ravenous, Nayu and Nyx. We're gonna be turning them into rats. That's gonna be fun. And then on Thursday, guys, is the 60K unarchived karaoke at 7 p.m. Show up or blow up, gamers. All right, I'm out of here. Roskotsu, Atsulat Rosco, Matane Jane. Bye bye. Have fun making your character.